Hello and welcome to Martin Lucas Investor. My name is Sensei, and we are here for a show of everything's down in the markets. We had some volatility introduced to the markets last night. Oh, I apologize. Let me just make sure that's muted. Oh, I apologize. A few things going wrong. Yeah, we had some volatility introduced into the markets last night with some tension in the Middle East and some strikes from Israel onto Iran. And we're seeing if there's going to be any retaliation strikes. We're going to be seeing how much volatility is going to be introduced in the markets. We're going to be covering all that news along with the crypto markets down, the stock markets down, seeing if there's any opportunities out there. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Please do hit the like button if you're here. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Um, it's another one of those days where you want to have a balanced portfolio, and depending on what your strategy is, and you can see events like this send the stock market down, and commodities like gold and oil up. Gold is at went as high as $3,444, nearing all-time highs, and he saw a massive candle on oil. Last night and even today. If we go to the 4 hour time frame, you can see that oil really spiked up all the way up to $78 a barrel, which is obviously concerning for inflation and stuff like that. We did identify a double bottom on oil on in May around $55, and ever since it has been in that uptrend. It's actually broken out of key resistance, and now it's moving further up. Let's introduce everyone into the show. Thank you all for tuning in. Let's go to your comments. We'll come on to the main news today. With everything going on, we've got some news stories we want to get into, and actually some bullish news on XRP, so we can change the mood a little bit when we get onto the XRP story. Um, I apologize, everyone. I was a bit late. I basically had no sleep last night, seeing what's going on with all the markets and the tension. So let's. I've seen Martin's got a pinned comment there. Please show love, support, and respect to Sensei. Sensei has family in Tehran. Thank you, Martin Lucas. Thank you very much, Martin, and thank you, everyone. I've seen some comments coming through. Let's see what they are. Namisha says peace, not war. That's all we ever want is peace. That's all that everyone in the right mind wants is peace. And hopefully we get peace. Zebek, like what war? But I hope everyone affected in these areas, please stay safe, regardless of what side you're on. We're still human, exactly. Because yes, we are all human, and we all have feelings, and we all don't want to see war. Um, yeah, but Zebek's up on the day, which is interesting. As I'll actually cover that later. Zebek seems to be the only cryptocurrency up on the day. Hope for safety for Sensei's family in Tehran. Thank you very much, Mike. I think everything's okay. There's still I haven't communicated with everyone yet. Zach Zate says TGIF. Hope everyone's okay. Praying for peace and love. Exactly, Zach Zate. Zach Zate's from Israel. My family's from Iran. All we want is peace between us, and we have. It's lovely that Zach Zate is here, supporting each other. When you think you've seen all that, new surprises every time. Yep, we thought it was over and done with. We thought that there was going to be diplomatic talks going on. Only yesterday we were hearing from Trump that the talks are ongoing, and we want a diplomatic um, solution to the problem, and then we get that surprise overnight. Prayers for your family, Zach. Yes, of course. It's a sad day in the world. Why can't everyone just get along? I don't know. I wish that was the case. I mean, the suffering in the world right now is I mean, is unprecedented. I mean, what's going on in Gaza? What's going on in the hostages taken in Israel? What's going on in Ukraine and Russia? The amount of people dying there on a daily basis. The wars in Africa. Um, so much going on. It's just terrible to see. Apparently, there's a story that Iran just about had nuclear weapons to finally destroy Israel. As Israel was like, oh heck, the waste. Motto A team. I don't see any credibility in those stories. I don't think any major. There's been stories that Iran has nuclear weapons for. I mean, the allegations have been there since the late 1990s, and they always say, well, they'll have it in a couple months. They'll have it in a couple months. I think that's a dangerous rhetoric. I mean, that's what started the Iraq War when everyone thought they had weapons of mass destruction and they didn't find anything. So who knows? Oil is on fire. Yeah, Sensei paying for your family and all the innocent people. Yes, definitely. Hopefully, there hasn't been too many innocent casualties. We will see as the story develops. We just don't want any major escalations, especially when you're dealing with nuclear facilities or nuclear power plants, and if radiation gets out, that not only affects innocent people, affects whole regions and the environment. Not taking sides, but interesting how the US distances themselves from this, really. Yeah, it looks like the statement straight after was from the US saying Marco Rubio distancing himself from this attack. Um, I don't think the US really. I don't think the US citizens really want to get involved in another war. I think they want to leave this one to the two people having the war. I don't think US citizens want to be involved in this. I don't think anyone wants to see US citizens getting involved and going on the ground. Crypto people was just informed about the oil market, and that's the most important market in the world. Yes, oil is an important market. We're going to come on to it. James, good morning. Not much works without oil. We can do without crypto. Though. Oil is an important market. It reminds me of 2020 when oil went down to negative numbers. You couldn't buy it for negative numbers, of course, but or the normal person couldn't. But it wasn't going to go anywhere. It was one of the best opportunities ever seeing oil at those prices. People say we're going green, we don't need oil. Well, good luck with that. You always need oil. Everything around you is made because of oil. Do you think that the crash will 20 to 30% of the war? Rees, we do not know what the escalations will be. We do not know that this has just started. This has just been the first, well, for a while. It seemed like everything was okay, and now it seems like it's starting, and it seems like it's the most serious one so far. So we don't know how it will evolve. If it gets worse, of course, the markets will come down more. If it's like before, maybe a small retaliation, and then that's the end of it. We'll see. Be prepared for all scenarios. I can't believe a lot of stocks crashed last night. Stocks love to crash on news, James. Of course they do, along with the crypto markets, along with the gold markets up, oil markets up. It's all a system. Um, please do hit the like button if you're here with us. We'll go through all the news and we'll go through this together. So please also subscribe if you haven't done so already. Poser Explorer, what's he saying? Thank you, Mike, for taking care of it. I don't know what the comment is. I missed the beginning of what's happening with XRP. We will come on to it. You haven't missed anything yet. Paro Zero chart video. I will post today. Okay, Paro Zero. Should we do that now? Para Zero. Are we recording this? Let me check. I think we're recording. Paro Zero. PRZRO. Oh, we've done a chart for this before. Let's do that now. Breaking news on Martyn Lucas Investor. We are looking at Para Zero Technologies. We're going to be doing a deep dive into the chart, giving you all the levels. Remember, nothing I say is financial advice. This is my thoughts and opinions only. Please do not trade based on anything I'm saying, and that would be an unwise decision. We are looking at the chart and it's up 18%. 18% pre-market. We covered this live on the show yesterday. We've covered this technical chart analysis for a while on the show. We were looking at support around 55 cents, then the buy levels or support levels around 82 cents. And we are certainly gaining a lot more momentum. We filled the gap. We are way up from this resistance around $1.17, and we are up above currently pre-market. We are up above $1.37. That is the last major resistance I had in place for Power Zero. I can see the stock definitely going to maybe $1.90, $2.33, and I do have higher targets. So it does look like Power Zero has gained a lot of momentum. The RSI isn't too concerning at the moment. Yes, it's slightly in the overbought region, but that is normal. We have seen a sell off since it hit $1.64. My thoughts on this would be, as long as we hold the 118 level as a level of support and maybe a level that traders will enter, the $1.39 level is a level of support that, if we stay above, history shows there's a lot of up and down action around these levels, and I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. Um, we are currently above that level, $1.37. Previously, when you've got above it, it has acted as resistance, but once you've breached it, you've seen massive spikes to $2. The time after, you had a massive spike to $2.33, then $3.39. One time you got above it for a day, and even in that day, you went up to nearly $2. More recently, when you got back above it in November of 24, in a couple days you hit $2.27. So it is a lot of sudden upwards action as soon as you breach $1.37. So we will see how the market reacts today, and that's why I'm saying if you stay above $1.37, $2.33 could definitely be the next level to keep an eye on. The trend has held these levels. 55 cents has been a strong level of support. You can see the accumulation between 55 cents and 82 cents is definitely strong. And even more recently, you've seen this higher low structure, which shows a lot of strength coming in. The next key thing is that $1.37, staying above it, and then you can start going back towards the $2 range. Then I've got higher targets, $3.40 to $4.16 as all-time highs. But for now, we're focused on $1.37, holding that and targeting $2. I'm just seeing if we've got a Fibonacci from this high to low. Yeah, you could find some resistance at 184, but then after that, it's really into the $2 range. So I am excited to see where PRZO goes. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. It is up pre-market. Are you invested in this? What do you think of this stock? Let me know. There will be two videos up here for you to have a look at as well, the fundamental analysis, the event we did on this. So please make sure you check them out. Hit the like button, subscribe. But until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Okay, that's a video that's going to be coming out later. Thank you, Martin. Um, um, Goodness, lots going on in the chat today. Let's see, where were we? Yes, we did the chart. Will ZBCN reach 0.0038 again this weekend? I do not have a crystal ball. I'm not sure. That would be. It's not. It's less about will it reach it. It's more being prepared for those situations. 0.038 is really not that far away, so I would imagine it could definitely reach those levels again. I mean, it was there earlier this morning, so there was nothing suggesting it won't get there. That's definitely a level of support, but I can't definitively say if it will or not. The last time an event like this happened, oil up, Bitcoin down, then Bitcoin ripped. Exactly, Travis. Depending on how seriously this goes, if it's just a small retaliation and that's the end of that, what recovers the fastest is Bitcoin. You've seen gold go up, Bitcoin come down, and that return from Bitcoin, it always front runs the market and it always comes back at a faster pace, and that will translate into the altcoins. Um, The last time Iran quoted saying America will pay the price, they don't believe they weren't involved. Thank you, Jesse. I bought more XRP last night. I got my average to $2.45. I saw that on Discord, RB. Hopefully, we see much higher prices. I am expecting about $10 this cycle. Let's all stop the war and pump XRP and ZBCN together, if only. Martin bought the S&P 500 last night. I opened some further positions in crypto. I think I bought some Filecoin, some Ondo token. I think that's about it. Just yeah, and I think I'm still down on those since last night, but there is opportunity in the markets. And Martyn bought the S&P 500. It was posted live on X, so make sure you're following Martyn on X. Let me see if I can post you the link for Martyn's X, because if we're not live, we're giving you updates there. So let me go on to Martyn's. If you go and click on Martyn's X, you'll see all the information live as it happens. Don't know what's going on there. You can see all the information live as it happens. If you go onto his following, you can then follow me there as well. Since they're wishing your family well, I have family near Jordan and Saudi Arabia, next to Iran and Iraq. Thank you, James. I hope it doesn't escalate to a wider regional war, because we don't want any suffering. Adam JMMA, if you want a chart request, you can become a member. There's the link. Praying for a peaceful resolution. Yes, that's what we want, a peaceful resolution. Thank you, Mike. My family all okay. They're just out of range of the fighting. That's good to hear. Good morning, all, says Brock Sensei. Any thoughts on Aura? I do not have any thoughts on that. Thank you, though. I haven't heard of it. Thank you, Namisha. I'm not in the mood today to put up with nonsense, nonsense no matter what. We love it, Mike. One of the oldest members here, in terms of not age, but the age they've been on the channel. He is. He's great. He's always been here supporting the channel, and we love his role as moderator. Where is a good place to find truth on this conflict? Sick of narratives, says Motto A Team. It's hard. The media, you either go. It's hard. There's fake news left, right, and centre. There's opinion pieces left, right, and centre. Who knows what the truth is? I don't even think the officials know what the truth is. I don't. I think it's hard to find the truth on anything these days. So trying to do my best for the newsletter on the finance truth. I don't know if I want to dive into the politics side of things, because you don't know what politicians are saying. Are they truthful or not? Mike, good work as moderator. Teamwork makes the dream work. We love it, James. Thank you for your role as well. Okay, let's get on to the newsletter, which is all fact checked. So here we go. One big thing, Middle East tensions are now the key global macro risk. After Israel's strike on Iranian nuclear sites, markets are repricing geopolitical risk across the board. Oil surged 14% intraday, gold hit multi-month highs, and equity futures turned sharply lower, with Iran vowing retaliation and the Strait of Hormuz in focus. Traders are bracing for volatility not seen since Russia-Ukraine conflict of 22. If escalation continues, it could derail the inflation cooling narrative and reset the Fed's path. Money move of the day. Geopolitical shocks like today can quickly reshape market leadership, with energy and defense stocks rallying while tech retreats. It's timely reminder why balanced portfolios matter. They're built to absorb surprise without focusing on drastic shifts. You can see Bitcoin's down, Ethereum's down quite heavily, XRP is at $2.15. I think it's slightly lower, maybe. Let me check. No, that's correct. It was lower last night. FTSE's down slightly. Oil bonds are up slightly. Oil is up a lot. Gold is up nearly 1%. So obviously the main story is Israel striking Iran. Martels rattled amid fear of wider conflict. Israel's Operation Rising Lion, and again, you can see I've got all my sources, so you can go and fact check this with different agencies, and I use a multiple range of sources. Israel's Operation Rising Lion targeting Iranian nuclear and military sites early Friday, killing IRGC commander and damaging the Nassan enrichment facility. That's always a bit concerning, because nuclear radiation not only affects people, places nearby, but also the environment. So I don't think there's been any reports so far of radiation coming out, but that's always something that's worries. Should worry everyone. Oil surged 14% intraday. Gold hit $3,444 an ounce, and an Israeli shekel dropped 1.8% as fears grow over Iranian retaliation and possible disruptions to the Strait of Hormuz. Iran denounced the attack and reiterated it does not seek nuclear weapons, while a warning of harsh retaliation. Trump, who has warned Israel not to derail diplomacy, later confirmed he knew about the plans and backed Israel's right to act, though stressed US neutrality. The strike also compounds legal risks for Israel, with the ICC arrest warrants already issued for Netanyahu and Gallant over alleged Gaza war crimes. Genocide Watch and Limerick institutes have concluded Israel's actions meet the legal definition of genocide, adding pressure on Western allies and future rattling investor confidence. If these relationships break down, they have an effect throughout the world and allies. So we've got the UK spending review. Chancellor Rachel Reeves' spending review outlines modest 2.3. I'm actually going to keep the story for you guys to read later because I know we might not have a lot of UK audience here, and you can choose which stories you want to read. Trump escalates pressure on Fed Chair Powell, threatens to force rate cuts. President Donald Trump sharply intensified his criticism of Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, publicly calling him a numbskull. um, I don't know what that actually means, and suggesting he may have to force something if the Fed does not cut interest rates soon. Trump's remarks, delivered on June the 12th, followed a release of softer than expected May inflation data, come amid his ongoing campaign for Fed to lower its benchmark rate by a full percentage point. Trump argues that high rates are raising US debt costs and putting the economy at a disadvantage, despite Powell's repeated insistence that monetary policy decisions remain data driven and independent. Trump's rhetoric and threats of intervention have highlighted concerns about the Federal Reserve's independence, a cornerstone of US monetary policy and market stability. The prospect of political interference is fueling market volatility, with investors reassessing risks around US assets, treasuries, and the dollar. The standoff underscores the growing tension between the White House and the central bank, and the Fed weighs how long to keep rates elevated to control inflation. Sensei's insight. Trump pushing for early rate cuts is playing with fire. Cut too soon and inflation risks roaring back. Deja vu for anyone who remembers 1970s. Markets need the Fed to act independently, not politically. Undermining that credibility could shake bonds, boost gold, and throw rate expectations into chaos. Remember, again, this is not me saying what Trump is doing is bad. What I'm saying is the facts here. If you go against the independence, the important thing about the Fed is it's completely independent. It's not a it doesn't listen to political sides. It's an independent, data-driven thing. If you start undermining that, then that creates a whole lot of chaos in terms of the confidence in the decisions of the Fed. And if you erode confidence, that affects bond markets, it affects interest rates, it affects everything, and that could have a much more worse effect. Also, if he does start cutting rates, and it is too soon, I'm not saying it is too soon. It does seem like rate cuts definitely should, in my opinion, could start. Another basis 0.25 down isn't an issue at all. But let's say if they continue cutting rates, and then inflation comes back, you'll have a much worse situation like you saw in the 1970s. So that's the story there. Brent crude spikes 12% on Israel strikes in Iran. We will come on to the charts in a second. Let's see if we've got any more comments before we go on to the next headline. If you are here with us, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Uh, Kansansky. Arrow IPOs today. What are your thoughts on it? William Myers. Arrow. Which one's that? Sounds familiar, but I don't know it. Arrow. AIRO IPO. What is Arrow? Let me see what it is. Air mobility drone ecosystem. Okay, cool. Thank you for letting us know. We might have a look into that later today. I'm finally in the green with USEG. It's a ticker war breaking out. Brian Gross, congratulations to you. So Brent crude, massive effects on the wider world. Um, People might just think of it as an investment, but it shapes the world. Spikes 12% on Israeli strikes in Iran. So Brent crude surged as much as 13% to $78 after Israel confirmed targeted airstrikes on Iran's nuclear facility and missile infrastructure, the largest one-day gain since 2022. WTI crude also jumped 12% to $77.58. The move reflects fears of disrupted supply from OPEC's third largest producer and heightened geopolitical risk. Markets react sharply. Dow futures dropped 600 points, gold rose 1.7%, and safe havens like yen and Swiss franc strengthened. Asian markets opened lower, and energy sector volatility surged. Analysts flagged rising hedging activity on oil futures as risk premium widened. The critical concern: Iran may retaliate or disrupt the Strait of Hormuz, a choke point for 20% of the global oil flows. JP Morgan warns that a partial disruption could add $10 to $15 to prices. A full blockade could push Brent towards $120. The oil shock compliance the oil shock complements inflation controls and could delay or derail central bank rate cuts. This is if it goes bad. I mean, my personal thoughts: is this going to happen? Blocking the Strait of Hormuz? Probably not. That will be a serious concern. Um, Blocking something like that, blocking 20% of the global oil flows, will have a bad effect on the markets, and especially oil prices could really, really surge. So we'll see. That's not the most likely scenario, but it's something to keep in mind. So oil doesn't just power economies, it powers inflation. A 13% spike overnight is a flashing red signal for markets and central banks alike. If the Strait of Hormuz becomes a battleground, we're not talking $80 oil, we're talking global stagflation risk. Stay hedged, stay sharp, be prepared for it. On the other hand, we've got the American currency crisis. This is a story I wrote last night before the news even started breaking. It's There seems to be the dollar just continuing to go lower. What's it doing today on this news? It's back up today, but yesterday when I was writing this, this is the only one I wrote yesterday because you never know. Everything changes by the morning, and that's why I only write one article in the night, and sometimes have to remove it if it's no longer relevant. But the dollar one would certainly still be relevant, even after today's little rebound. The US dollar has plunged nearly 10% this year, marking a 3-year low. That's not just a number, it's a red flag about global confidence in America's economic management. While weaker dollar can, in theory, help US exporters by making American goods cheaper, remember that. If a weaker dollar does help US exporters because their products are cheaper abroad. The current drop isn't a deliberate strategy, it's a collateral damage from mixed policy signals and mounting uncertainty. Donald Trump has long claimed that a strong dollar hurts US competitiveness, openly favouring a weaker currency to shrink the trade deficit. But here's the twist: the very policies designed to boost US industry, tariffs, fiscal stimulus, and political brinkmanship, has backfired. Instead of encouraging investments in American assets, they've spooked markets and led to capital outflows. Global investors are reacting not just to trade policy, but to deeper concerns: rising deficits, inconsistent messaging from the Washington, fears that the US institutions are being weakened. Even as Trump voices Even as Trump voices support for a weak dollar, the reality is more chaotic. His actions sometimes push the dollar up in the short term or spark broader sell offs across the US market. It's a very complicated thing we're dealing with here. In fact, it's pretty simple, but then when there's all of these different effects, um, policies are there that should in fact increase um, uh, the dollar dominance, but they're in fact coming back down. So it's all over the place. But what we can see from the charts and what we can see from the data is the dollar's coming down. Whether you like it, whether you plan for it, whether you didn't want it, whether your policies are against that or for that, that's what's happening right now. The dollar index is at a 3-year low. The impact means a weaker dollar fuels inflation. by making imports more expensive. The US equities may lag global peers. However, gold has rallied and investors hedge against fiat currency instability. So the dollar's drop isn't a currency story, it's a capital in motion as confidence in US assets weaken. Gold and Bitcoin and global markets are the winners. Investors are signaling it's time to look beyond America. We've seen that shift from America to Europe. We've seen European markets make all time highs or close to all time highs. We've seen American markets not keep up with European markets, I would say, in the last year and a half. Um, we'll see if that continues. The dollar is also important. Oil is also important. Gold is also important. But yeah, especially the dollar and oil really have effects throughout everything. So keep an eye on that and prepare for that. Time for the time for changing the tune from all these wars going on. There's a massive XRP story we want to get onto, but before we do, let's have a quick look at some of the charts out there. Gold coming up to testing the all-time highs. This level, if it gets breached, we do have much higher targets on gold. Bitcoin came all the way down to 102,000 and has recovered quite strong. I would say it's back up 2.4% from the lows. Remember, 106,000 is key. If we get back above that, I wouldn't worry about this drop. If we don't, then get prepared for lower prices. 106,000 is a key level for Bitcoin, and let's see if it recovers. Remember, last time we saw these things happen, Bitcoin came down fast, but it also recovered the fastest, and this might be the beginning of that recovery. Um, the S&P 500 is actually down more than Bitcoin on the day right now. S&P 500 down 0.78%. From the highs of the day to the lows of the day, it was actually down about 1.8%. Martyn bought the dip. We are so far rallying back up. Let's see how it continues. Again, when you just zoom out and you look at I've always had this parallel channel just to keep an idea of what overbought and oversold is, and where I think value is and where I don't. At the lower levels of this chart or at the heart line, I've always seen value. Below this parallel channel, I've always seen value. That's why those levels we were looking at that 24-hour stream we did or the 12-hour stream we did, that was a perfect buy because it was definitely undervalued. And it was definitely a level of support. This parallel channel, we are at the top end of it. So again, for me, in my strategy or in my thoughts and looking at the chart, it wouldn't be the area I'd want to be buying. Even with this drop, we are still very high on this parallel channel. We are on the higher level of this channel. We have definitely gone way above the parallel channel previously, but let's see how this unfolds. There is nothing wrong with buying the S&P and holding long term because it's never been a bad strategy. Let's get on to the XRP story. There's a lot to cover, and we're going to be going over to Martyn in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to make it as a video, and we'll go on to the XRP story. Um, I apologise if my mood's a bit down today. Obviously, I hate the idea of wars. It's every day in the news. You watch the children in Gaza and Palestine, and you think, what have they done? You look at the amount of people dying in Russia and Ukraine, and now the last thing you want is another much, I don't know, bigger war breaking out. Would be awful, not only for the markets, but for actual human beings. So let's see how that all unfolds. Let's get on to the main story of today. So I will do this as it was 11A, Vanessa. Normally the survivors are at the back of the plane. This time it was at the front. Terrible story there as well with the crash, but the one survivor is incredible. So let's do this as a video. Breaking news on Martyn Lucas Investor. We have got some incredible bullish news to bring from you straight from the man himself, Brad Garlinghouse. Not only that, we've got some more bullish developments for XRP and Ripple, and we'll get straight into it right now. So, what is the news? This is taken straight from our own very own newsletter. The link is in the description, first link in the description, and you can have this newsletter yourself. We will come on to the video of Brad Garlinghouse saying how much of Swift is going to take over and our price predictions based on that, those levels. But Apex has started. It is the largest annual global summit for the XRP ledger community. hosted by Ripple. It brings together developers, innovators, businesses, and investors for a 3-day event focused on blockchain technology, showcasing the latest advancements, networking opportunities, and in depth discussion about the future of the XRPL ecosystem. What a great ecosystem it is, what a great ledger it is, what the number of developments on this ledger in the last year is incredible. The number of announcements I'm about to um, the number of announcements I'm going to sorry, I've just got something going on there that can go away. Um, the number of announcements I have in this video is exceptional. So, what am I talking about? Ripple's bold bet: XRP to capture 14% of Swift's global volume. That is the main story we're talking about, and I've got some more, but this is incredible. I mean, I think Brad Garlinghouse might have been a little bit drunk when he let this one out. We'll see. At Apex 2025 in Singapore, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse electrified the crowd with a headline prediction: XRP would capture up to 14% of Swift's global transaction volume within 5 years. Rather than replacing Swift's messaging system, Garlinghouse emphasizes XRP's opportunity to dominate the liquidity layer. Liquidity is where power lies. Declared outlining XRP's path as a foundational cross-border payments tool. Let's have a listen into this video.
Tokenized real world assets fairly quickly.
In 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean,
It's for a dumb reason.
Swift today, there's two ways to think about Swift. There's the messaging and there's liquidity. And liquidity is owned by the banks. I think less about the messaging and more about liquidity. Because if you're trying to develop liquidity, that's good for XRP. Right. Anyway, so I'll say 5 years, 14%.
The reason is auditability. You know, in most of the big problem with auditing right now is if I hand
14%, and we've also got Dave Schwab's talking about the billions and billions coming onto Ledger. 14%, and he said that himself. I mean, I've not known him to make predictions like that before, but there it is. So what does that prediction mean? We've got a few various AI models telling us what they think that means. So AI predictions for XRP price if it captures 14% of Swift's volume. Grok AI, that's Elon Musk's one, is suggesting $100 to $500. So factors considered: ETF speculation, 15 15 where's it called? Where's it gone? 14% of Swift's flowing through XRPL, and market sentiment. Historical crypto rallies show prices often overshoot utility during FOMO phases. So putting those together, those are its assumptions. It's saying $100 to $500 range. XRP becomes the cornerstone of global liquidity, with ETF hype amplifying. So 100 to 500. Would I say that? Well, maybe if 14% was captured, I don't think 100 is. That's far fetched. DeepSeek AI is saying $63 base, 170 bull case. Stay with us. I'm going to give you the predictions. I'm going to give you the charts, and then I'm going to give you also more more stories from Apex. So please do hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Leave me your thoughts. What do you think your price prediction is for XRP? Let's say in the next 5 years with that level of adoption from Swift. What do you think? Leave it in the comments below, and if you're watching live, put it in the live chat. DeepSeek AI is saying 63 to 170 dollars depending on the velocity and how many transactions are at a time. Its base case is 30, then it's 63, then it's 170. ChatGPT model is giving us a lower prediction of about $40. So we will keep an eye on that. What would I say? What I've always said: 5 years time, $50 to $100 is definitely possible, and that falls within those ranges. We've got stablecoins taking center stage. We've also got USDC now on the XRP ledger, which is incredible. But let's talk about this story here. Brad Garlinghouse highlighted his bullish outlook on stablecoins, citing the recent blockbuster IPO of Circle, the company behind USDC, a clear indicator of surging institutional and retail interest in blockchain-based finance. Garlinghouse noted that the market confidence in the passage of the Genius Act as US stablecoin regulatory bill bipartisan support was a key factor in Circle's successful public debut. So Circle, massive company now, showcasing what crypto really is about, and it's on the stock market as well. I've got quite a few stories I want to get through. I'm going to go to past newsletters after this, where you've got the XRP tokenization story, where you've got billions coming on chain as well. Also, the EVM sidechain launch, Ethereum compatibility comes to XRPL. Who said DeFi can't happen on XRPL? And here it is. Ripple CTO David Schwartz confirmed that the XRPL EVM sidechain will go live on the mainnet in Q2 of 2025, built with Persist and connected via Axlar. The sidechain supports Ethereum compatible smart contracts. The testnet has already logged over 280,000 daily transactions. Also, tokenization, US Treasuries and real world assets go live. XRPL now hosts tokenized US Treasuries via Ondo Finance. I bought some Ondo token last night. A lot of good news stories coming from that token and that company. And it's backed by BlackRock's BUIDL fund. Ripple USD stablecoin facilitates 24/7 conversion, enabling institutional investors to access and settle these assets around the clock. Um, Guggenheim Treasury Services also launched digital commercial paper DCP on XRPL, accelerating the growth of its real-world assets ecosystem. Ripple CTO David Schwartz captured the scale and the speed of the transformation of Apex 25 by saying what? It's in that video up above in the newsletter. We are going to see many, many hundreds of billions of dollars very quickly moving onto the XRP ledger, and I'll tell you why else. I'll go on to the other stories of tokenization from a couple of days ago as well. This milestone signals a foundation shift in on-chain finance, with tokenized treasuries and other real-world assets now live, delivering faster, greener, and more efficient access to global markets. Monica Long, the Ripple president, also has said this is a turning point for regulatory clarity. What I'm also going to bring to you, this is the newsletter. Remember, you can get all of the news every single morning, all the head stories, everything you need to know in the morning, all fact checked, all sourced. Takes hours and hours to write. It is the first link in the description. All the XRP stories, all the wider stories that you need to know if you're an investor. So do consider subscribing. The link is the first in the description. I'm going to go and find you another XRP story from a newsletter a couple days ago, and I'll bring this to you as well. So we've got ETF momentum coming next week. Investors' momentum around US listed XRP spot ETF is accelerating, but this time it's grounded in more than just speculation. The SEC recently approved Nasdaq's crypto US settlement price index (NCISU) and put XRP in the same regulatory grade price benchmark as Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's the SEC choosing to do that. That's why I think that these ETF will get approved very soon. And not only that, the spot ETF filings are already in play. Franklin Templeton, we all know Franklin Templeton, massive asset manager. The application hits an SEC milestone on June the 17th, next week. Get ready. While Wisdom Tree's XRP Trust is in active review. These proposals follow the same regulatory pathway as Bitcoin ETFs took: futures first, then spot. Notably, Volatility Shares launched the first XRP futures in May, and CME added XRP futures shortly after. The elephant in the room is the ongoing Ripple and SEC lawsuit. Today or yesterday, we got the news that they have filed again. So let's see what Judge Torres says this time. My thoughts would be, I would be surprised if she denies it again, because both the SEC and XRP want to end this. So this Franklin Templeton story is big. June the 17th, keep your eye out on it. Remember, they filed it. SEC delayed it for 45 days until they had until May the 3rd to reply. Instead, they delayed it until June the 17th. So June the 17th, next week, are we going to get their ETF approval? I do have some more XRP stories I want to bring you as well, so stay with me about the tokenization. Let me see which one it was in. Maybe it was. We had a few XRP stories this week. Not this newsletter. I'll see if I can find it. If not, you can always go through the newsletters and find it. Let's see, maybe it was last week. Maybe it's this one. Let's have a look. Not this one. I'm just trying to see if I can bring you another XRP story, which is quite important as well. Maybe it's this one. I don't think I can find it for this video right now. That's the silver short. So there's so many stories that you can always go and check out. Let me see if I find it. XRP, XRP, XRP. A lot of volatility is going to come next week with all these stories, and the underlying news for XRP is absolutely incredible. You get news stories after news stories. The price is down today. Do I think this is an opportunity? Yes, I do. Do I give financial advice? No, nothing I say is ever financial advice. I'm happy to hold Ripple XRP for the long term. If it goes up this cycle, I'm expecting $10 to $11. It can go as high as $20. If it doesn't, I'm happy to hold sideways. Next cycle, I do think $50 is very likely, and it can go much higher. I think XRP is undervalued, but again, there is always risk to these assets. Let me see if one final try. Which one would it be in? XRP's DeFi upgrade? No. Circle's IPO? No. XRP decision? No. Oh, here we go. I should just read my own subtitles. Two things here. The Vivo Power, 121 million XRP Treasury pivot. What this means, I apologize for watching this as a video. We make all our videos during live shows, so we are the most honest, truthful channel out there. Vivo Power, it is a stock traded on the Nasdaq, and they are the first publicly traded company to adopt an XRP-focused treasury strategy. They're raising 121 million from private investors, Saudi Prince, and the majority of the funds will be used to acquire XRP. A company is looking to have an XRP treasury, just like MicroStrategy is doing it for Bitcoin. This is another company doing it for XRP. We are waiting on a vote that's coming anytime soon. I think the vote is happening on June the 18th, very soon next week, and that's a $100 million purchase of XRP. That will certainly have an effect on the price, in my opinion, and that's coming out soon. We also have Ondo Finance launches tokenization of US security treasuries on the XRP ledger. That is Ondo Finance launching tokenized US treasury products, OUSG, directly on the XRP ledger. We also have stories of Ripple working in Dubai to bring real estate on chain as well. So much underlying bullish news for XRP and Ripple. We also had news. The reason they made the RLUSD was Brad said it yesterday on the Apex, was because they were at one point they were minting 20% of USDC, and they said, why are we doing this? Why don't we just have our own stablecoin? So they are doing a lot. The Hidden Road acquisition is only started to take place now with how they are putting things in place. So I'm so bullish on this asset. That doesn't mean go out and buy it. That just means it is something to keep an eye out for. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Please do have a look at these two videos up here. Check out the newsletter, first link in the description. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. What a bullish story from XRP. So much going on. That will come out later as a video as well. If you are here with us, make sure you hit the like button. Tap the like button. Let's show Sensei love. Thank you, Vanessa. Today's show will be on the hour, so you have more time if you want. I will probably be ending the show, but I appreciate that, Martin. I've literally had no sleep last night, and I think it's best I don't stay on. Even though I'd love to, my my wife is always cooking lunch at 1:30. It's later than she normally likes it, but I always tell her, don't worry, I'll be down at 1:30. Tap the like button, let's show Sensei love. Yes, James 007, it's hurtful. Don't accomplish what folks. Vanessa, I agree. War and racism is a shame. I wish we live in a world where everyone got on, helped each other, was happy and chilled out. James, I'm right with you. What a terrible thing that's going on, people. it's all over the place, whether it's anti-Semitism and Islamophobia or races or anything. That you just see people doing that. I mean, and even people popping into this chat, and we've had to block a few people because of some comments they are saying, and it's don't know why people do it. And I guess you just learn to live with it. Yes, James, 007 is so hurtful and doesn't accomplish what folks think. Yes. Francesca said Swifts. My first thought was Swifties. If everyone's watching the show that Sensei works hard for doesn't respect in the chat, you'll get to because Mike is a very strict moderator today. We love it. $85 is what you think. Interesting. $200 to $300 in 5 years' time. Gavin Johnson. That would be incredible, wouldn't it? Ondo, great buy. Jim Ricketts. I agree. If Dogecoin is an exact copy of BTC except from how many coins are in existence, doesn't that make BTC the original meme coin? Maybe it does. XRP will overtake Bitcoin in market cap one day. I think that's possible, depending on how far people go with the digital gold aspect of Bitcoin. But again, I would agree with you. I think XRP would overtake Bitcoin. Missed the 75 cents. Ondo says XRP John T. XRP averages 4.4 billion cash daily flow. 100 million will barely move the needle, says Toro U. 100 million. Where are you getting 100 million from? What's coming onto the XRP ledger is hundreds and hundreds of billions coming on chain. What was that? So this is just an XRP hype. No, it's not an XRP hype channel. Thank you. Mike's on smoke. If you say one thing, you might be out. He hasn't blocked you or anything. He just didn't like that message. No, I don't think this is an XRP hype channel. We like XRP. It's brilliant. It's great, and it's here to stay. So we get to talk about what we want to talk about, and our community likes XRP. We like XRP, so we will talk about XRP. Thanks again, XRP to the moon. Yes, there is. If you go onto the shop, we do have XRP merchandise as well. I'll give you the link for this. You can go to the XRP ZBCN merch. You've got the mugs. Do we have many left of this? Only 2 XRP mugs left. I'll give you the link. There is an XRP mug. You can get it as a bundle with the jumper, the t-shirt, and you save some money as well. Do consider going up to martynlucasshop.com. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hopefully we get no more wars. It is a bit of an upsetting day. I apologize if my mood has been down this morning. Hopefully I managed to still deliver everything. Still did the newsletter, still did the show while all of this is going on. So I appreciate all of you being so supportive. We love the Lucasade family. Martyn will be back with you later on today. What I'm going to do is we'll go to the extra channel in the meantime. And while we're in the extra channel, we can continue the discussions, get ready for Martyn's show, which is starting in just under half an hour. So let me link it to the extra channel. That is a restream until Martyn goes live a little bit later today. So I've saved those changes. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If I give you the link to the extra channel as well, that might be easier as well. Let me do this. Martyn Lucas Extra. I'll give you the link to where we're going while we wait for Martyn to go live as well. Where is the extra channel? It's on the home page of the channel. Let me give you the link to this. Oh, okay, cool. Sorry, Martyn. Martyn is going to create the event. That's fine. That's perfect. Sorry, I didn't realise. We'll go straight to Martyn's event. No worries, Martyn. Just seen your comment. Okay, brilliant. That's good. Okay, so stay with us. We'll be going over to the main event. Excellent show, Sensei, as always. Thank you. No worries at all. Let's just have another look at the markets while we wait. So let's just have a quick look. Oil obviously sold off from those highs of $77. What's it doing? We'll go on to the 15-minute time frame, see what we're missing. Oil is moving back up. Gold is moving back up. What's happening with Bloomberg? Let's have a look. Why is that not playing?
Table, Greg Dacko of EY. Okay, Greg, good morning.
Brilliant. Good morning.
Starting points matter. So before we get into the inflationary story in the commodity market this morning, let's talk about where we are and what the trend is at the moment. For inflation, CPI and PPI coming in softer than expected this week. How are things shaping up for you?
Well, I think one thing that we know for sure is that we had strong disinflationary current entering the year. And this is something that a lot of observers were dismissing. We had this strong disinflationary current. We're now at the inflection point. We're going to start to see stronger inflation as a result of the tariffs feeding through. And I think the other part that people are overlooking, because on the surface things look okay, is the fact that the labor market is softening. And that's been the key pillar to consumer spending activity. As that softens, you're going to see more weakness in income growth, and in turn, that's going to lead to more softness in consumer spending.
Does that erode the potential for second-round effects if the labour market's starting to loosen up?
Absolutely. I think the key thing that people are missing is that tariff shocks are not necessarily going to have a persistent inflationary effect in an environment where the labour market is soft, because you're not going to get that pass-through onto wages.
Seems like some inflation fears there. Nothing too important Bloomberg's covering. I think we can do a better job than them. So gold is going back up towards the upside, double bottom on gold. Actually bullish divergence. If you're looking at the chart, you've got higher highs on the chart, lower lows on the RSI, and on the 15-minute. That gives you the entry for the trade. W structure, you're probably targeting the top of the 786. Just a quick lesson on charts. You can target the 786, 7436 could be an easy target for gold, just off that double bottom bounce with that bullish divergence. We'll remove that because that might get annoying later on. S&P 500 is steadily making its way back down. You see it takes the elevator down and the stairs back up. Let's see if that happens again with another move towards the downside. We hope not. We hope everything's sorted and we get back to all-time highs. So far, so good. XRP solidified its lows. Still these levels here. I don't think I can make this line longer. No, but it came back down to 208, the level of support that we've been watching. It was possibly a retest of these levels as well. So back on and upwards to $2.30 for XRP, unless the downtrend continues. In that case, the support's still 2.08 or back to that $2 range. But right now, we seem to be recovering on the markets. Is Bitcoin up as well? Bitcoin's recovered quite fast, as expected, in terms of the sharp recoveries from Bitcoin after these news events. Who knows if it's going to make a lower low, but for now, the recovery has been fast after that capitulation low with all the liquidation candles. Remember, everyone gets liquidated, it cascades, and then the buyers come up and buy it back up. I'm not saying that the downtrend is over, but I'm saying that that's what we expected. 106,000 is the level to get back above to confirm that we are still bullish on Bitcoin. Any other notable gainers? ZBCN is holding strong while everything else is down. Some liquidity and some money is flowing into ZBCN, targeting 0.0047 would be the next target to get back above for ZBCN, but looking bullish for now. Let's make sure this is running okay. Yeah. What else? Just having a look at the losers. What's Ondo doing? I did buy some Ondo Finance yesterday on the drop, just because I've been seeing their name pop up all over the place. Partnerships with BlackRock, Ripple, everything. A lot to do with tokenization. A lot of partnerships with Ripple, BlackRock, etc. We heard about it up here. I didn't want to buy it up here at $2 because that was overbought in my idea. But 58 cents would be great. Even these levels right now on Ondo, I think they're lower than the prices I bought. So I might consider buying some more on Ondo USD. It only launched back in 2024. It's a new token, and it's doing a lot in the market. It's got a $2 billion market capitalization, and it's got some strong players behind it. So Ondo is looking very, very interesting. So we'll keep an eye on Ondo. I wonder if it's on my watch list. Have a look at the stock market, any gainers or losers. It's actually in the newsletter as well. Circle's up 2%, and the biggest loser is Archer. Remember, Vaz might have some more information for you guys, but if you go to the newsletter, you can see the information on why Archer's down, something we've warned about previously. You go to the top losers in the newsletter. and you look at Archer, down 14%. Archer Aviation shares dropped sharply pre-market after announcing an $850 million direct share offering at $10 per share, significantly diluting existing shareholders. The capital raise, while strengthening Archer's balance sheet and supporting eVTOL rollout, triggered a negative reaction as investors weighed the impact of the share dilution against long-term growth prospects. Not good to see. Go out on a hype train, try and market your stock everywhere, go on the Jimmy Fallon show just to get more people to buy in, and then dilute. So I'm sure Vaz will have some comments on that. We've got the link for the next live show. I imagine it's already been... Let me check. Yep, it's already there. So Martyn will have a show for you guys coming in the next few minutes. So let's click on that link. Everyone go straight to Martyn's show. The show will take you automatically there. It's starting in about 15 minutes. Go there, get started. If everyone could say Sensei sent me, I'd love it. You don't have to, but that would be great. Click on that link, say Sensei sent me, and I'll see you on that show. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye. Peace. All we want is peace. All everyone wants is peace. Let's remember that. Thank you, everyone, for... before I go, I just want to say thanks to everyone for all the kind messages. Sorry if I've been in a bad mood. I just don't like the idea of war. Obviously, I've got some family over there as well. That's not me saying I support or don't support. That's just me saying the last thing we want is war. Or last thing I want is war. Last thing... we all want peace. So much suffering in the world, everywhere. Ukraine, Russia, Gaza, wars in Africa. We just want it to stop. Any human would. So thank you for bearing with me today. Bought 10,000 XRP last night by the dip. Great. We'll go to Martyn's show. The link is there. Until next time, take care of yourselves.